The truth is, about 8, 9 years ago, I almost wanted to have a divorce with Cease, literally giving him the ring back. And then we realized that, whoa, neither one of us really know what we want. And I just become miserable. The clock turned 5, and I was like, gosh, my husband is going to walk into the door any moment. And I was dreading myself.
And for the first 14 years, the reason why we almost got a divorce was because, we're in this vehicle that we were heading east looking for a sunset, but it wasn't designed to take us there. So we had to kind of stop and get out of that vehicle first and say, where are we going?
But at the moment, I have decided the life that I truly wanted to live and not what Cease want me to be.
So Bronnie Ware wrote this book called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and where she's taking care of clients who are sick, right? Who are in their last days, hours, weeks, right? Months, and she's helping them transition. And she started basically asking them questions, of what they learned in life. And a lot of it came up they shared a lot of things that they actually regretted. And what she ended up really finding out was that people don't regret what they did, but they regretted more of the things that they didn't do, right? The people they never talked to and things that they actually never accomplished and things like that. So the very first regret is I wish that I had lived a life true to myself, not what a life that others expected of me. Second is I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard. I wish I wouldn't have traded my time for a paycheck, essentially, trading my life for money. The third is I wish I would have expressed more of my feelings. Fourth, I wish I would have, stayed connected and true to my friends. And then last is I wish I would have had made myself actually be happier. And one of the things that she also talked about was a lot of people also wish that they would have pursued their dreams, right? So I'm here with Phyllis, who is the queen of virtual assistants. And one of the things that we do is we actually help people. We call it money rich. We're making money, right? Financial wealth for them and their family. Second is purpose rich, where they're living a fulfilled life, doing fulfilling things. And then third is time rich, freedom, right? Being able to, live a life where, like us, go where we want, stay as long as we want, bring in as many people as we want. And in the center of all of that are people, which is virtual assistants. Second is processes, right? Systems and processes you can automate. And technology programs that we've actually been able to leverage. And then I think the fourth one would be peer groups and proximity that we've actually been able to model. So we have a framework that we want to share with you here that has really allowed us to kind of live our dream life and now run an 8-figure business that actually funds it, fuels it, so that we can actually not live a life of regret. So what is the first framework and first area of focus that help people avoid living a life of regret?
I think first thing first is you need to know what you want, what truly matters to you. And that is actually the core of our program, which is called the Dream Life. What is the dream life that you truly wanted to live? Do you actually dare to dream? Right? I think when we were growing up, it was really hard for us to dream about life because, everybody else, tell us what to do. Right? Do this faster, right? Do more, after you have one car, have a car, what kind of house do you want to live? The truth is we actually kind of get programmed into a box of what other people expect of us, kind of what Bronnie Ware was saying, instead of us actually take a pause and say, hey, wait, is that what we truly want? Is that the dream that we want? And that's the reason why, after, the truth is about 8, 9 years ago, I almost wanted to have a divorce with Cease, literally giving him the ring back. And then we realized that, whoa, neither one of us really know what we want. We were programmed by the society, by the people. And ever since then, we consistently working on what do we truly want? What is the dream life all about? And how do you feel about that? I mean, do you feel the same way? Do you truly know what is your dream life? If you do, type it down below. Let us know what kind of life do you have. Is it like a nomad lifestyle? Is it like a billionaire? Kind of Kaylee wants to be the kindness billionaire. Do you want to just live a regular life? I think that is just a choice of yours. But the question is that your choice? Have you actually get a chance to sit down and choose?
Yeah. Dream life is the destination, right? I think most people, because we were conditioned or programmed, if you want to call it brainwash, whatever you want to call it, right? To actually have and to do, but really not to be. And dream life is really about the destination. And most people get into a vehicle, a relationship vehicle, a business vehicle, before they actually even know the destination, right? For example, we were business owners now 20 years this last December. And for the first 14 years, the reason why we almost got a divorce was because, we're in this vehicle that we were heading east looking for a sunset. We're just in a vehicle to make money or be successful and to have to do, but it wasn't designed to take us there. So we had to kind of stop and get out of that vehicle first and say, where are we going, right? What's the destination that we're actually going? What does our dream life look like, right? Dream life, I think there's a combination of three things. One is money rich, where you have to have money to obviously fund and fuel this type of lifestyle or this dream life that you want. Second is purpose rich. I think that most people live in default. They live in where they're just kind of conditioned to, do this job or this profession or build this business, whatever it is, then really stepped into their true purpose. So they achieve, but they're not fulfilled. And then the third is time rich. I think that most people, because we were trained, right, to do that work hard, working hard alone is what leads to success. But what we have found is how can you actually be successful without having to do a lot of the work? How can you delegate it to other people, right? But the very first, area of focus here is really find, just like Phyllis said, what does your dream life look like, right? You really sat down. If time and money were no longer an issue, right? How would you be living? What does that look like? Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing there, right? All of those things. Where are you spending most of your time and most of your time, most of your life, money as well, right? So that's your dream life is. So the second area of focus then is your dream self, right? So what is your dream self?
To me, I don't know. I mean, you type it down below. Let us know, like, what is a dream self to you look like? Dream self, just like what the words say, is the self that you're dreaming to become. Again, a lot of people doesn't know. The moment that I wanted to have a divorce with C's, right? If somebody because I experience this, I hear you, I see you, right? I understand you. I really don't know who I am because, who I was at that time, because I heard that, being a wife, I just need to be submissive, right? I just, yes, ma'am, yes, sir, all the time. And I just become miserable. I remember that the moment that 5 o'clock come, right? The clock turned 5. And I was like, gosh, my husband is going to walk into the door any moment at this moment. And I was dreading myself. And as soon as he walked in, I was just like, oh my gosh, like he just have a long list of honey-do list. I don't really like it, but I still say yes and doing the work. And so, the biggest courage I have is giving him the ring back. But at the moment, I have decided that, what, I wanted to live the life that I truly wanted to live and not what C's want me to be, right? And that was a huge transition, though, to be honest with you, because it wasn't easy for me to step up to become who I am. It also wasn't easy for him to get to know this new me, because this wasn't technically the me that he was attracted to at the very beginning, too. But nonetheless, I'm, there's no regrets for me, because now I truly can say that, man, this is me. This is who I am. This is how I like. This is, how I want to be, unapologetically. And so the question for you is, do you know who are you? Who do you want to become? Are you already becoming the person that you're dreaming about?
Yeah, most people live, and the reason why it's Brownie Ware's first top regret, right, is that I wish I lived a life true to myself instead of what a life others expected me, is because there's three types of identity. There's a false identity where, people ask questions like, who do you want to be when you grow up, right? So you choose this profession that you really don't even want to, but you're conditioned to, right? So you become somebody you're not. That's a false identity. And then eventually somewhere along the lines, you're like, wait, this is not what I want. This is not my identity. Then you kind of self-identify yourself as whatever, right? Like we ended up self-identifying ourselves as entrepreneurs and started a business, right? And then what Phyllis is talking about is, I think, your dream self is where you really step into your true identity, right? You're showing up, whether in your business, in your relationship, in life, you're showing up authentic, unapologetic. That's exactly who you are, and not just what you're doing or what you have. It's literally just that you, right? And in business, for example, we record something or create something like this. This is us, right? We're the same people on stage. We're the same people off stage. We're the same people backstage, right? We're the same people. And this is who we are, right? So that's how we actually live. So the third is your dream business, right? So tell us more about your dream business. So that happened in 2020 when you launched your VA business and the coaching business as well. So tell us a little bit about that. How was that? How did that launch? And that obviously is, it started as just another business, but reality was it really was your dream business. It was like something like almost like God wanted you there. And if you looked at all the voids in your life leading up to that, it's like, wow, this is actually, a product or a business I should actually start. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, for sure. I do believe that, your mess is always going to be your message, right? For me, when I was growing up, I was just yearning for that relationship, right? The family relationship, peer relationship. And I just never really felt like I was enough. And when we started this business, it allowed me to have a space where I can heal people over and over again, give people the time back, educate people about the mindset. And it made me really want to run this business, all the time. And I think that's what a dream business is really about. Like, what is the dream that you want? What is the wound that you wanted to heal? What is the mess that you have survived through? And now you can help other people that maybe 5, 10, 15 years behind you that, are walking your path, and you can help them solve it and make it better instead of them going through it maybe 15 years. You can kind of help them out with 1 year. And then you're so passionate about it because you're consistently seeing you in them. And then whenever they, hit a milestone, right, they overcome the stuff, you're like, oh my gosh, the little fellows have overcome that too. And that is how I get motivated to build my dream business. And my purpose, again, is to, first is to help people get their time back, because without time, you don't have anything. Even you have money, you got the time to enjoy the money, right? And then afterwards is, hey, after you have the time, now you can think about how can you heal yourself. After you better heal yourself, then you can think about, hey, what's my bigger purpose? How can I serve other people so that, I could be a better person? And that's, to me, that is what dream business is. And because of that, it allowed me from, working behind the scenes to now in front of the scene, allow people to know who Phyllis is. And I'm really proud of that. And I invite you to really explore what is a dream business for you. And a hint, it's not about the money that you make. There's so many ways that you can make money, but the way that you can make money unapologetically, I guess that's a big word for me today. And at the same time, have a lot of fun and motivation is figure out what is that dream, that dream business that you want to do.
Yeah. From my point of view, watching her launch that business in 2020 and then outgrown it to, an 8-figure business is past voids, right? Whatever past voids that you have in the present, that becomes your highest value. That's something that you value the most, right? So for her, it's time, right? Getting time back. She didn't have a lot of time with her family. So it was such an easy transition for her to start her virtual assistant business, where she helped people hire VAs, and now VAs and AI right now with technology the way it is. But it was such an easy transition. And I watched her. I knew right away it was a dream business right away, because it was just like, when she talked about it, she didn't talk about it innately, right? It wasn't just a product. There was a whole purpose behind it, right? Some people call it a movement, some people call it a mission, but there's a whole purpose behind it of like the story, right? The story of keeping the virtual assistants in the Philippines at home, right? How she grew up, how she didn't grow up with her mom, how we started having children and not having a lot of time with them. So wanting them to stay at home and work from home and having more time with their family and ultimately be successful professionally as well. So when she spoke about her product that way, it was so easy for people to actually say yes to it because they saw themselves in that story, right? That I want that too. And this is a great mission that I can get on board with because that's such a great, great movement. I just want to belong to that. And that's really what has really honestly allowed her to again grow an 8-figure business now and make it, really solidify it as a dream business. So the fourth area of focus is your dream team, which comes back to virtual assistants. At that time, I think we had worked with our virtual assistants team for about 9 or 10 years, somewhere around there. I think we hired our first VA in 2010 or 2011. And so 2020, that's when she, launched her VA business. So talk to us about the fourth area of focus, dream team. And we're actually talking about VAs as well. At that time, also, dream team is also the 5 things, right? Your systems, your peer group, your proximity, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So for me, Dream Team has been growing. At the very beginning, Dream Team is just about your team, right? The team that you truly want to live. And we have a framework and system to figure out who are the best team member that you get. The truth is I've been a recruiter for many, many years. And I realized that a lot of people, recruit the wrong way. And it's not because the VA wasn't good. It wasn't because the team wasn't good. It's just because you do not know what is a team dynamic that you want, right? And then, so that's the first one is the dream team. The second one is that if you wanted to change yourself and your surrounding, you definitely need a dream proximity, right? A people that is surrounding you that talk the same language. Because every time I train my team, I tell them, I knew whether you're going to say a yes answer or no answer. It just depending on whether you go to the yes group of people that's going to say yes to or the no group of people that is going to say no to. So if you decided that, man, I want to get off this box, right? I want to really live my dream life, then you actually have to be with the people that also dream big too, so that they will support you to get to that dream life that you want. So the second one is proximity. The third one is your coaches. Who are the coaches that you're working with? Who are the one that can open up your visibility, open up your awareness to know if you go on this couple steps forward, what is something that you're going to encounter? What is something that's blocking you? And with those coaches, it makes you feel safe, feel good, and feel the courage to walk towards that new place, right? The unknown place, actually. I know that when I first started, building my dream life, there was a lot of uncertainty. Today, I have a call with my virtual assistant, B, and one thing that she reminded me of is I used to be addicted to stress. And right now, she's addicted to stress, and I'm trying to yank her away from stress as I do. Like, I really need you to see the other side, right, of the tunnel. And just like, I don't know, man, I'm going to find something else to be stressed about. And I was like, dang, that's, everybody is trying to look for something to stress about because stress was one of the best adrenaline that we have, right? So, again, coaches is very helpful in that sense. Number 4, it's AI, right? Nowadays, AI is definitely a must, right? Whether you're using OpenClaw, using Hermes, using Claude, using Codex, using, Cowork. There's just, Manus. There's just so many of them out there. But if you crack the code on whichever one that works for you the best and automate it and create a system for it, then everything else is going to be easy, right? And then ultimately the 5th one, just like what I said just now, is systems. The reason why Ventano is the way that it is today, right? In the shortest amount of period, it grew, international, nationwide, right? Is because he actually has a system that is a system-based business and not a people-based business. If you can get all those 5 involved into it to build a gigantic or a tiny, strong dream team, then it is gold. That's the reason why it allows us to travel around the world without really working, but have done work that nobody else can kind of compete with us, is because, we have really built a really strong dream team that really support us, protects our vision, and keep us moving at any given time.
So the top 5 regrets of the dying from Brownie Ware really kicked off this conversation we're actually having here. And 4 areas of focus, I believe, is the thing that will help you live a life without regret, right? And if you want to really, clarify and really define what does your dream life look like, what is the destination before you actually get into the vehicle that is designed to actually take you there, then we would love to invite you to our Time Rich Challenge. Day one is about your dream life. It is about the destination. It is about answering the question: if time and money were no longer an issue, how would you be living? What does your dream life look like? Right. Second is your dream self, how to actually avoid number one regret, which is living a life true to myself, not a life what others expected of me. And that's really identifying how you're basically the levels of what we call the levels of being, right? Which is your true self, your true identity. And then third is your dream business. We're going to walk through marketing, lead generation, selling. We're going to walk through the Anywhere, the dream business framework, where you can make sure that you actually legally own the business, and operationally, you can actually also be able to run the business from anywhere in the world as well. That is your dream business. And then what is that purpose-driven profits business? And then fourth is your dream team, right? Peer groups, proximity, people that motivate you, people you can actually run with, people in your team, your AI, and your systems, all of that stuff will actually be covered. Essentially, what it is a Time Rich Challenge is about how we actually live our dream life while now running an 8-figure business that actually funds Fuse. So if you want to join us, and if this is what you want, then click on the link below, and we will see you there.